They hand you the card like it's a reward. A small piece of plastic, shiny, clean, simple, and they call it freedom. But nobody explains that freedom is just debt wearing a better outfit. The first time I got a credit card, I felt powerful. I remember standing in the bank, signing the papers, hearing phrases like interest-free period, flexible payments, build your credit score. It all sounded responsible, adult, smart even. What they didn't say, at least not loudly enough, was that they were giving me access to money I didn't actually have, with consequences that would arrive later. Quietly, slowly, relentlessly. At first, everything was fine. I used it for small things, groceries, fuel, occasional dinners. Nothing crazy. And because I always paid at least the minimum, I thought I was doing well. That's the first illusion credit cards create. They make you feel responsible while quietly making you less free. Because minimum payments are not designed to free you. They are designed to keep you paying indefinitely. I didn't notice the trap until the balance stopped going down. At first it was confusing. I'd pay money, and somehow I still owe almost the same amount next month. That's when I looked closer. Interest, compounding silently in the background. Like a leak in a boat you don't see until you're already in the water. Credit cards don't just charge you for what you spend. They charge you for the privilege of not paying it back quickly. And the longer you delay repayment, the more expensive your past becomes. Here's the dark psychology nobody really talks about. Credit cards don't feel like debt, they feel like spending power. That's intentional. Cash hurts. Cash disappears instantly. But cards detach you from the reality of money leaving. You swipe, you tap, you confirm. No emotional friction, no pause, just approval. And because there's no pain at the moment of spending, people spend more, much more. Studies consistently show people spend significantly more with cards than with cash for this exact reason. Not because they are careless, but their brain never registers the loss in real time. Then comes the real trap, the minimum payment system. It feels helpful, but it's actually engineered to stretch debt over years, sometimes decades. You owe a balance. You pay a small amount. Most of it goes to interest. Barely anything touches the original debt, so the balance barely moves. And slowly, what felt like a small purchase becomes a long-term financial burden. A dinner, a phone, a shopping weekend. None of it feels dangerous in the moment, but combined, it becomes something heavier. The worst part is how normal it feels. Millions of people live with credit card debt and treat it like background noise, something you manage instead of something you escape. Monthly payments become routine. Interest becomes invisible. Stress becomes constant but quiet. It doesn't feel like a crisis. It feels like life. And that's what makes it so dangerous, because you don't fix what you don't see as broken. Credit cards also change behavior in subtle ways. They change how people justify spending. I'll pay it off next month. It's just this once. I deserve it. I need it for work. Every purchase gets a story, and those stories slowly replace financial discipline. Because once justification becomes normal, restraint disappears. Then there's emotional spending. This is where credit cards hit hardest. Bad day? Swipe. Feeling low? Swipe. Want a quick boost of confidence? Swipe. Credit cards turn emotional moments into financial decisions. And emotional decisions are rarely cheap. You're not just buying things, you're buying temporary relief. But the problem is, the bill arrives later, when the emotion is gone. So you're left paying for a version of yourself that doesn't exist anymore. And while all this is happening, something else is quietly building in the background. Interest snowballing. Even small balances grow over time if they are not aggressively paid down. Not because the system is evil in a dramatic sense, but because it is designed to profit from delay. The longer you take to repay, the more valuable you become to the system. A customer who carries a balance is more profitable than one who pays immediately. That is the real business model most people never think about. There's another hidden layer too: credit scores. People become obsessed with them. And yes, credit scores matter in modern financial systems, but they also create psychological pressure to keep using credit products even when they are harmful. People are told, use your card to build credit, but not always told using it incorrectly can trap you in long-term debt. So they keep spending small amounts just to maintain activity. And sometimes that maintenance becomes the beginning of an imbalance. Over time, credit card debt changes how people see money entirely. It shrinks their financial confidence confidence. A person who once felt in control starts feeling constantly behind. Even when income increases, freedom doesn't, because part of every paycheck already belongs to past decisions. That creates a psychological loop. Work to pay, debt to spend again, to repeat, to never fully reset. And in that loop, progress feels impossible. The most dangerous belief about credit cards is this: I'll fix it later. Later is where financial problems go to grow. Because interest doesn't wait for motivation, it doesn't pause for better months, it compounds silently regardless of your intentions. So later becomes more expensive than now, every time. But credit cards themselves are not purely evil. That's another truth people misunderstand. Used correctly, they can be tools, convenient payments, emergency backup, short-term liquidity, even rewards. But the difference between tool and trap is behavior, not the card, the user. The people who never fall into serious credit card debt usually share a few habits. They pay balances in full every month. They treat credit like delayed cash, not extra income. They avoid emotional purchases. They track spending regularly. They understand interest is a cost, not a suggestion. And most importantly, they respect the psychological effect of easy spending, because they know the real danger is not the card in your wallet. It's the mindset in your head when you use it. I eventually had to learn this the hard way, not through one catastrophic mistake, but through accumulation, small purchases that didn't feel important at the time. Until one day, I opened my statement and realized something uncomfortable. A large portion of my future income was already gone. Not because I was broke, but because I had borrowed from myself repeatedly without noticing. That realization changes how you think forever. Paying it off wasn't quick. It wasn't glamorous. It wasn't inspiring in the way people like to imagine financial stories. It was slow, repetitive, uncomfortable. Every extra payment felt like undoing past behavior instead of building something new. But over time, the balance decreased, and something more important happened. Mental clarity returned. Because credit card debt is not just financial pressure, it is psychological weight. It sits quietly in the background of your decisions, affects what you can say yes to, limits your choices, adds stress to ordinary days. Freedom doesn't just mean having money. It means not being controlled by past spending decisions. The real lesson isn't never use credit cards. The real lesson is understanding what they actually are. A financial amplifier. They amplify discipline or they amplify impulse. They reward control or they reward consumption. And whichever side you fall on determines whether they help you or harm you. Most people never realize the shift happens quietly. No warning, no obvious moment. Just a gradual transition from control to dependence. And by the time they notice, they are already inside a cycle that feels normal. The truth nobody says out loud is this: credit cards don't ruin lives suddenly. They reshape them slowly, one swipe at a time, until spending feels normal, debt feels manageable, and freedom feels far away. But it doesn't have to end that way. Because once you understand the system, you can step outside it. You can use credit without being used by it. You can spend without losing control. You can rebuild financial clarity one decision at a time. If this made you rethink how credit really works, like the video, comment your thoughts below, and subscribe for more stories about money, psychology, and the systems nobody explains properly.